As the White House and those on the left try to limit your Second Amendment rights, there is startling new evidence about how far they are willing to go. Here are the two latest examples. Now, late last week, a Democratic Colorado state rep, Joe Salazar, suggested that women should not be armed with guns on college campuses, even if they feel like they could be raped. Here are his outrageous comments.
There are some gender inequities on college campuses. This is true. And universities have been faced with that situation for a long time. That's why we have call boxes. That's why we have safe zones. That's why we have the whistles. Because you just don't know who you're going to be shooting at. And you don't know if you feel like you're going to be raped, or if you feel like someone's been following you around, or if you feel like you're in trouble, and when you may actually not be, that you pop out that gun and you pop around at somebody.
Pretty unbelievable. Now, of course, the Democratic lawmakers sort of kind of given one of those if I offended anybody apologies, but he's not the only one on the left who wants to disarm Americans. We've also learned that the NRA has gotten its hands on an internal Justice Department memo that talks about, quote, mandatory gun buybacks. That sounds a lot like mandatory confiscation of firearms. Watch this.
President Obama gives a good speech, and when you listen to him talk about new gun laws, you may think he sounds reasonable. But what happens when you look at the details behind the president's policies? How would they actually work? Let's look at what Obama's own experts have to say. This internal Justice Department memo says, quote, an assault weapons ban is unlikely to have an impact on gun violence. Unlikely, that is, unless it comes with something else. Obama's experts say that a gun ban, like the one being debated right now in Congress, will not work without mandatory gun buybacks. Mandatory gun buyback. That's government confiscation of legal firearms owned by honest citizens.
That's pretty scary. Joining me now with reaction from townhall.com, Katie Pavlich, nationally syndicated radio talk show host, Leslie Marshall, both Fox News contributors. So now I see, Leslie, you got Joe Todd Aiken Salazar in the Democratic Party. Let's just remind everybody, selective moral outrage, Democrats about Todd Aiken. Let's just remind everybody.
The Republican Party has a major grassroots problem, which is that a good part of its grassroots now celebrate ignorance. It's more than abortion and women's rights.
This isn't just about one person. This isn't just about Aiken. This isn't a one-off. This isn't a misspeak. This is an agenda. This is an ideal. This is a theocracy that's embedded in the GOP.
If he doesn't, the Romney-Ryan ticket is going to be tarred with this feather for the entire campaign.
As far as the GOP, this is going to be devastating if he stays in, because they have two big issues, the Hispanic vote and the female vote, and it gives them the ultimate poster boy. They're in trouble.
For all of the outrage, and there's a lot of it being directed towards Mr. Aiken by Republican higher-ups, it is also worth pointing out that the official party platform that's being voted on today in Tampa, ready, sitting down, it backs the position of Mr. Aiken, somewhat, parts of it anyway.
No, it did not. But where's the outrage here, Leslie?
Well, I wasn't in any of those video clips, and the reason is I don't feel that left or right, that's a political issue, quite frankly, Sean. I think it's a very male against female issue. They're too emotional. Oh, you can't get pregnant if you're raped. I think both Aiken and Salazar were offensive with what they said, and there are a lot of men left and right who feel that women have emotional instability, whether it comes to a gun, hand-to-hand combat in our military, and the list goes on. So I think it's a sexism issue, not
Katie,
a political issue.
Call boxes, safe zones, whistles. Is he serious here? If a woman's
first of all, right. First of all, I want to point out that Leslie Marshall actually wrote an op-ed that was titled, Todd Aiken is the reason why, and there's proof that there's a war on women. So for her to say that she hasn't politicized that isn't exactly
that's what
true.
I said. That backs up exactly what I just said.
Well, you said it wasn't political. So anyway, back to the comments made by the man in Colorado, Mr. Salazar, about the call boxes and the whistles. it's such a liberal argument to make. Don't worry, the call box is there so someone else can take care of your responsibility to try and defend yourself first, right? But this isn't just a comment that was made by one Democratic senator in Colorado. We have universities now across the country giving out these tips for young women on college campuses to maybe urinate or vomit on your attacker, and maybe he'll back off. Scream, try and run away, and other gross and disgusting things, rather than the fact that when Colorado, there's universities in Colorado, passed concealed carry, the crime rate dropped significantly, and it wouldn't be any different anywhere else.
Katie, what about the Justice Department memo, mandatory buyback? That's confiscation. There's no other way to put it.
Well, this Justice Department memo, it proves exactly the record that we've seen from Attorney General Eric Holder and President Obama. People forget how radical President Obama really is on gun control. Let's not forget that when he was in Illinois, he voted against homeowners being able to defend themselves inside their home with a firearm against violent attackers. When he was in Illinois, he supported the ban of handguns, the manufacture and transfer of handguns. His Attorney General in the 1990s said we need to brainwash kids in our schools against guns.
Leslie, you get the last word.
Thank you. Quite frankly, I'd like you to name which states that don't allow conceal and carry permits where they have higher rape rates than other states that do. I also would like to know if, like me at 19,
what does that have to do with these dumb comments?
If you were the victim of an attempted rape when I didn't have a gun and I did fight him off, and you can use self-defense tactics without a gun if you so choose not to have a gun, or if your gun is not at your disposal.
All right. Oh,
pink pen.
What's the pink pen?
There was another Democratic representative from Colorado who said we was using ballpoint pens to fight off gunmen in the middle of an attack.
Unbelievable. Guys, good to see you both.
If they carry a gun.